All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is our webinar, Streamline Your AEC Business in 2020, BOLDBuild 2.0. We've been looking forward to this webinar because we have a lot of new features to share with you today, so we're really excited about it. My name's Olivia. I'm a strategic sales executive here at AlphaBOLD. I'm joined by Tayeb Ali, who is our VP of Consulting Services and also oversees all of our practices here at AlphaBOLD. Before we jump in, I want to go over a quick agenda that we've put together for today's session. So first, we're going to go over some of the industry challenges that are in AEC today, some of the benefits that BOLDBuild offers to customers, and then Ty will go into an introduction of what BOLDBuild is specifically, and then he will jump into a demo of BOLDBuild, and then we will jump into Q&A. All right, so I want to start by going over some of the challenges that are very common across not only the construction industry, but really any industry that requires managing service, maintenance, or project teams out in the field. So we often find that many organizations within the space are unable to access critical information to make key business decisions. Many companies use KPIs to gauge and compare performance in terms of meeting both strategic and operational goals. So one of the studies that I included was performed by Dodge Data and Analytics, and it was geared towards defining KPIs in terms of how contractors meet both strategic and operational goals. And this was performed by analyzing existing processes and how projects are planned for, and then ultimately how they're executed. Unfortunately, as for the results within the last year, not much has changed. There has been some progress, but in terms of document and data management, it's still the industry norm that 50% of contractors on average fail to fully capture and even review data on a consistent basis. And this has been pretty standard as well, but this applies to sales teams. 35% of time is spent hunting down project information. If it's accurate, data is pretty often siloed in different systems or maybe in an Excel sheet. And then this results in $175 billion in labor costs. And this was in 2018 alone. Hopefully that increases this year, decreases this year, but we'll see. And then in terms of project tracking, only 40% or 42% of contractors update schedules daily or even weekly. And then only 20% update scheduling within 1 to 2 days of becoming aware of a schedule modification. So this can, definitely impact your bottom line. Margins are already tight, so not being able to track that is kind of a big industry challenge. In terms of RFIs and responses, so the industry average is 10 to 1. So every 10 RFIs result in only $1 million of construction projects worldwide. So that is about 100,000 dedicated to RFIs only. And on top of that, roughly 22% fail to even receive a response. It could be due to timeliness, the inability to create multiple estimates and proposals within, the allocated time, and then change orders as well. So this is a big one, especially out in the field. There's always unforeseen change orders. There's always equipment that doesn't show up. There's always contractors that have to work overtime, especially in this labor shortage market. So only 36% of contractors collect and document change orders, and that's on less than half of their projects. Okay, and then as I mentioned before, the labor productivity, 62% of GCs felt that the number one reason is due to communication, and mostly between project teams. Oftentimes they have to reach back out to the main office. There's a delay in communication. Sometimes there's no service. and also they don't really know where to pull their data from. So, okay. So now we're going to jump into BOLDBuild, which is our platform built specifically for architecture, engineering, and construction. And I just want to briefly go over some of the customers that we currently have. These are the specific trades that they specialize in. So we have, pretty robust functionality within the BOLDBuild platform. It's not a one-size-fits-all, and it's a very scalable platform. Now I'm going to hand it over to Tyab. He is going to go over BOLDBuild 2.0 and then jump into a demo and get into more of the specifics. Tyab?
Thank you so much, Olivia. Hi, everyone. I'm Tayyab. So we're going to have a joint ride in this van. It's going to be a little bumpy because of how I could get the animation in place, but hopefully the demo would be smooth. So we're going to start with the pain points. Olivia touched upon some of the key challenges in the AEC space, and those certainly are the ones that our BOLDBuild solution addresses. So doc management, change order management, communication. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into more specifics of breaking those down into the modules that we have within the BOLDBuild. So I'm going to start with sales, then I'm going to talk about project management, and then I'm going to talk about field operations and challenges that are relevant to each one of those. So from the sales standpoint, we live in a space or a time where the sellers, they have too many tools. And that is especially true for AEC, where we have too many disjointed systems, too many tools that are out there, but there's no one cohesive system that gives you a unified view of the information that allows for efficient collaboration between the team members. So that is what I wanted to highlight here. And there's a cost for this distraction that a lot of us don't necessarily look into, which is 14%. Distraction reduces sellers' performance by 14%, which is huge. It can be in terms of time spent on non-selling activities. They don't know exactly what's expected from them. They have too many tools, and all of that contributes to that. In addition, the sales industry is changing. So the way there are external factors and then there are internal factors. Externally speaking, your sales cycles are longer, your decision makers are more involved. You have up to 10 decision makers as if you're selling in the AEC space, and they take a lot of time to make their decisions, which means that you need to have a very well-defined process. And that's exactly what is missing in the AEC space. We don't have a system that could have that defined process, that could manage collaboration between the sales team and the estimation team and the project management team and the operations team and the accounting team. So we have all of these disjointed systems that adds to this lack of a process-oriented system. And the likelihood of the workers will spend more time on collaboration because these tools are not talking to each other. They have their own silos is 70%. Those are the huge factors of why we need a robust system on the sales side that would integrate with other modules as well. Now coming over to project management, and I think most of the people on this webinar know how challenging project management is in the AEC space, but here are some statistics for you as well. So 35% of time is on non-optimal activities, which means looking for project data and information because it's not readily available. There's still paper-based dailies coming in where you're getting your time from your foreman or your field admins are approving that on paper. All of that is still on paper. So there's a lot of opportunity for digital transformation and automating a lot of that. And then there is so much rework. And I'll have another slide that talks about how much rework we have. But that has a huge implication on the overall profitability of the businesses in AEC. Here is another chart that gives you, put these things in perspective. So 16.2% goes into conflict resolution. 15.2 goes into just fixing stuff of time, and then 15.2% of the time is just going into organizing the job sites and people because there is no one system that could allow us to initially set up the job site, know which facility it is, putting all the team members on that job site, being able to schedule all that. So that is all that BOLDBuild tries to address in this version 2.0. And then on the field operation side, rather than showing some of the additional challenges, I wanted to give a perspective on what it means from the cost standpoint. So you can see for the field supervisor, for the managers, it has the time that is being wasted has a direct implication on the cost impact that it has. So you can see that for field supervisor, it's around $50,000. Estimators around $33,000 because there's so much back and forth. So with that, we're going to go into how BOLDBuild solves some of these challenges. So going on to the next stop here. Going in, so what our platform does is that on the sales standpoint, from the sales standpoint, what it does, it provides you the ability for your sales people to be able to focus on what's most important. It streamlines your sales workflows, and then it makes it easier for you to start with what you need. And how it does it is because we have a very tailored process, which we have found to be unique to AEC, but it's generic within the AEC industry. So all of you start with a process where you're just vetting information and you're qualifying your prospect. Then in one way, shape, or form, you're working with your estimators to be able to, some people call it takeoff, some people call it estimation sheet, whatever you have in your existing industry in place, you are preparing some sort of an estimate, working with the sales team so that they could send out a proposal. And once the proposal is out, then the idea is to get onto the project and be able to execute on that project. So we need a system that could give us insights into all of these processes, starting from the sales, touching upon the estimation, touching upon the project management, touching upon the operations and the accounting. And we want a cohesive flow. So every time we get a certain type of an opportunity, we are following the same steps so that it's easier to train people, because there's a lot of turnover in this industry as well. There's a lot of new people coming in this industry right now. So having those things in place helps with all of that. Then streamlining your seller workflows. So it's about collaboration, like we talked about, because there's a lot of time being wasted on that. So we need to build a tool that is device agnostic. You could use it on your mobile devices, you could use it on your desktop, your tablets, and it allows you to collaborate effectively with everybody within the organization, which is equally very, very important. So this platform that we are demoing today is allowing you to do that. And then just for everybody's benefit, BOLDBuild 2.0 is built on top of a Microsoft platform, which is Dynamics 365, and it integrates intrinsically with Office 365, with Azure, so it gives you all of those collaboration tools inculcated into the system that we've been able to leverage within BOLDBuild. So that's a huge advantage that we have seen in choosing the platform that we chose. Now moving over, this platform, BOLDBuild 2.0, it allows you to start with what you need. So it gets you up and running quickly. We have seen that as we onboard customers, we have built this platform in a way that we are able to configure the services quickly that they offer. It can be the mechanical services, it could be construction project management, it could be that you're doing renewable solar installed, it could be that you are into structural, you could be into electrical, whatever you have it, our platform is configurable and we can configure those services and onboard you quickly onto this platform. It is the processes piece of it. I'm going to obviously use the examples that we have used with some of our customers for this demo, but again, all of that is configurable. You can change the stages, you can change the steps, and you can make it fit your organization and your business processes fairly quickly. So that's another advantage that we have on the sales side, as well as it goes through on all the other modules that we have as well. Now moving on to the field app that we have as part of BOLDBuild. So for those of you who are doing it on paper, obviously you understand that you have no compliance, you cannot enforce business rules, you don't have business process flows, and even if you have some of that automated, this platform allows you to put in a lot of cadence and rules with respect to compliance and business rules. So for example, we have rules such as within the state of California, if you have an iron worker, then if you have an apprentice iron worker, then you got to have an iron worker on site as well. And the ratio of the hours, it has to be a 1-to-2 ratio. And the system enforces that. So for example, if you have a foreman on site who puts in hours by an iron worker apprentice, the system is going to notify them that, hey, you're missing the journeyman hours for iron work, so there's a discrepancy there, and it is going to notify that. Then it automatically calculates overtime, double time, so that you could integrate that with your accounting system and pay out accordingly. It has business process flows that I touched upon. It adds to the transparency and accuracy, and then we have a huge layer of analytics that I'll be spending a lot of time on in our demo to showcase to you how this platform allows you to have visibility across all modules. Then again, the process is not just on the sales side. You can have any process that you have for your dailies. Your foreman can submit it on behalf of the journeymen and the apprentices on site. It can then go to field admin, then it can go over to supervisors, then it can go on to the accounting, or you can have any other flow that you want in there. And I'm going to demo this. I'm going to just skip through this, but these are the steps that I will be demonstrating. Having said that, it's not to say that these are the only flows that we can have in the system. So for the demo, this is what we will be doing, that it goes to the field admin, they can accept and reject it, then it goes to the supervisor, and then it goes to the payroll admin. And last but not least, communication, which is huge, and you will see that because our platform is one integrated platform, so we are able to solve the most prized problem, I would say, of the AEC industry, which is to be able to see budget versus actuals. But because we are starting from the sales, where we get all the estimates in our system, and we'll show you how we do that. So you don't have to worry about the fact that you'll have to start doing your estimates in our system. Just wait a few minutes and you'll be able to see how we have incorporated different ways to be able to bring in those estimates that you do in your tool of choice. But then once we have those, we have essentially the budget, and we have the change orders being tracked, and the actuals are coming in from the dailies that are being done through our field app. So that gives us this unique capability to be able to do some amazing reporting on top of that data that I'll be covering as well. So from the overall benefit standpoint, we feel that you can save up to around 2.5 million, because that is the number that, based on the studies, is being wasted on the tasks and collaboration which are non-optimal. Then there's 48% rework in this industry that can be eliminated using BOLDBuild 2.0. Obviously not 100% of that can be eliminated, but a huge extent of that can be. There's amazing executive level insight, which would be the first part of my demo, and I'll be covering that in a lot of detail. And then we have one single source of truth, because all of the apps that I will be sharing with you, the sales app, the project management app, the field operations app, they're all integrated. They're all built on the same platform. So you have all that data visible to you in real time. As soon as your foreman submits their time, your project manager sees it. As soon as a material is received on site, your project manager sees it. As soon as a subcontractor shows up on site, they bring in people who do their stuff. You can have them sign a PDF file on the tablet, and your project manager gets to know exactly how much work was done and how much people were on site. So it gives you that real-time analytics. Now moving on to what is BOLDBuild quickly before I get into the demo. So it has these 5 modules. It has a huge analytics layer that goes over the sales, field operation, and project management. Under sales, obviously we are covering all the sales aspect of onboarding a prospect and working with them, creating the estimates, working with the estimators, creating a proposal on a single click, sending it out, and then you all know about how complex this can be, because you can have multiple bids. One bid can be awarded, the other side could still be pending, and it covers all of those scenarios. Then we have field operations, which is the field app, where you can take in your timesheets, you can put in your subcontractor hours, your materials, your equipment on site. Then you have your project management, which is one place where everything comes together. So project management, your sales comes in from, let's say, the onset of the journey, and then at the other extreme you have your people who are going on site and working on that, and on project management level it all just surfaces. So we have that, and then we integrate with many accounting and ERP systems. So if you're using SAP, you're using AX, you're using a Foundation, you're using iCore, whichever system you're using, we have the capability to be able to integrate that on the accounting. We don't have an accounting module built into BOLDBuild 2.0. Now, with that, I do want to highlight that because we have so many modules and we have separate webinars for each one of them, and we will be more than happy to have a more detailed discussion with you on each one of them. But because in this webinar, it's about the new features that we have in each of these modules, I'll be giving you an overview of all of them. So kind of painting more of a journey of onboarding a customer and then creating a project and adding a daily and then seeing some of that on the project management level. But we won't be going into a lot of details. So I'll be skipping through those in interest of time. But feel free to reach out to us if you want to have a deeper session or want to look at our specific recordings of each of the modules that we have, and we'll be more than happy to have a follow-up session with you on that. This is once again from the functional standpoint, we have opportunity management on the sales side, job and project management in project management, field service, which is the app that we have that allows us to do vendor, equipment, and material management as well. We have analytics, and then we have integration with accounting. So with that, I am going to go to the next talk, which is the demo. So just give me 1 second, and I'm going to bring in. Okay. So this is how BOLDBuild looks as you log in. So you can see here that we have multiple apps. We have a foreman app, which is the field operations. We have the project management app, and we have the sales app. Now, you don't have to have all of these apps. You can, let's say if you have problems in overall project management, then you can take the project management app. If you want to just fix your sales, then you can use the sales app. If you have just problems where you are doing your dailies or your timesheets by hand, then you can use the foreman app. So we can break it down, and we work in collaboration with our customers. So we'll just have a discussion with you and see how we can just bring in one app if you don't want to get onboarded with the whole BOLDBuild 2.0 framework, how we can help you onboard just on that one app and how it will integrate with some of the existing systems and applications that you have in place. So I'm going to start with the dashboards because from the project management standpoint, this is huge because it gives you insights into almost everything. And then I'm going to go into the sales. I'll start by creating an opportunity. I will close that and create a project. Then I'll go on to the field and show you how the foremen would be submitting their dailies and time against that project. And then I'll jump over to the project management, and I'll show you how all those dailies and subcontractor times and materials are going to come together on a project level. So with that, I'm just going to get started with this demo. So we have multiple dashboards here. We have the sales dashboards and we have project handoff dashboards. I'm going to start with the sales dashboard. And as you can see, I have a dashboard right here that shows you your actual revenue and your budgeted revenue. And it is showing you across the system, across all the services that you have in the system. And I have filters here, and I can filter down on any data that I have. So for example, it shows me that in the month of March, I have my actual revenue, which is in blue, which is more than the estimated that I have. So I can click on that, and it can just then give me a breakdown of, okay, here are all the projects that you have that contribute to that in the month of March. And I can then play with any of these numbers. I can say, okay, I want to look at the month of July. I can go in there, and this is showing me my budget, my estimated revenue, and my actual revenue. So as soon as you go above your budgeted number, it can generate notifications for you. It can trigger an alert for the project manager so that they go ahead and do a change order. And I know change order is huge in our industry, so it definitely allows you to do that. I'm not sure what happened there. Okay, so this is the first one. Then on the sales side, again, we have sales forecasting dashboards. On the sales forecasting side, the idea is that because this industry is so much dependent upon temporary workers or subcontractors, it's important that you're able to onboard them and offload them as well based on the workload that you have. So what we have here is, so for example, we are in October. So it is showing you how your pipeline is looking starting from November all the way to September 2020. And then you can see I have all of these services configured in the system. Obviously, as we onboard our customers, you're either doing structural or you are doing solar or you're doing maybe just some specific construction or mechanical. So we just configure it to be specific to your industry. But for this demo, I have everything in here. And for example, now I can click on this and I can say, okay, show me what's going on in March. And then as soon as I do that, it starts showing me this and it tells me that, okay, most of these are these dumper services. And I say, okay, I'm not interested in that. Show me what's going on with the electrical in the future. This way I can forecast. So I know that if I go into, say, for example, ESED or field service, let me just take it out. And I go, let's say here onto the dumper service, I see that most of my peak in March is coming based on that. And it is going to happen in March 2020. So this tells me that I need to start planning on that. And it's also giving me the ownership by different sales team. Then I can also go and I can look at all the sites and locations I have across all the projects I have in the system. So it's telling me that in Washington I have 84 sites where we are working. I click on that. I can say, show me these 10, and it can just go back and forth. So let's say here, and I come in and I say, okay. So it can zoom in and zoom out based on what's going on. I can click on any of these and it just shows me that relevant data. And then it gives me very detailed, specific opportunities that I have in the system that it is using for these analytics. And where I can say, okay, this is what it is showing me. You can see for electrical, the start date was Feb, or there's a start date of July. For engineering, you can see I have a start date of October here, October 31st. So I can go and I can say, okay, which opportunity is this? And as soon as I click it, it just takes me into the BOLDBuild system and starts showing me all the details on that. And I'll cover that in a bit. So I'm going to go back to my dashboard. So this is just on the sales side. But for project managers, we have these reports that go across all the apps that we have. That we have built so that you could have visibility on your fingertips. And it's also for executives. So for example, here, you can see logged hours analytics. So I can see hours by job. So I have a few jobs configured in my system. One is the Disneyland theme park that is being constructed in San Diego, in case you guys did not know. It's showing me hours by the job here. I can say, okay, I don't want to see all the other jobs. I want to filter it by this Disneyland only. So I can go in here and I can look at this theme park. And now it's telling me that, okay, there are 77 hours by our employees, and then there are 77 change order hours. Now I can go and look at hours by phase. Phase and site, are used interchangeably. So these are just different sites I have. So I have one Coronado building site for this Disney theme park, and it's showing me that most of the hours are there. And it is showing me here the dailies that correspond to those. So it is telling me the employees who are spending all this time. I can look at it by trade. So you can see most of the work is for the electrical, as well as there are some laborers there. I can look at it by employee. I can look at it by cost code. So it just gives me the complete breakdown of whatever is happening on this one job. So as a PM, I just need to come in here and be able to see from our employee standpoint what's going on. But let's say if I go on, I just remove this filter from here. And then I move over and I want to look into labor hours, apprentice versus journeyman. Here it is telling me overall across all projects in the organization, the ratios. So it is saying for carpenter, I'm using a lot of apprentice hours versus very little journeyman. For iron, I'm using a lot of journeyman hours because state maybe enforces something like that. So I can see all of that stuff. Here it is also giving me another perspective. These are just percentages. Here it's just giving me the exact hours that I have. And again, at any given point in time, I can look at all the details and I can filter it by, okay, just show me the journeyman hours or just show me the apprentice hours. And it just shows me the breakdown based on those. And this so far was just based on the apprentice and the journeyman, so mostly the people who are our employees. But now let's go into the subcontractors. So it's very important to be able to see how many subcontractors we have on the jobs, on the sites. You want to be able to look at that by different subcontractors. So these are the ones that I have set up. You can see how many hours they have put in. If I click on that, it shows me these are the 2 dailies that correspond to the hours that we see. And you can see they have been doing drilling and they've been doing underground electrical work. And I can also look at the tasks, and it shows me all these tasks that they have been doing within that. So they've been drilling, welding, water pumping. So it gives me like complete visibility. Again, I have a lot of trades here, so it's showing me all of those trades. I can just go by trade as well, click on that, and now it's only showing me hours by that trade. I can also look at by task like I was sharing with you. So you can have those tasks and then it will start showing you all the hours that you have against the tasks that you have in the system as well. It kind of just gives you perspective on all of the subcontractor hours and adds visibility to that. Now going in, these are the purchase order analytics. So these are essentially your materials. So all the vendors who are sending you maybe concrete or you're shipping panels and stuff like that. And you can look at these as well. And you can look at them by job. You can look at them by site. You can look at them by vendor. For me, for this demo at least, I have probably the same vendors who are providing on-site services as well as the ones that are shipping me materials. But I can go in here and I can say, okay, show me by materials. I want to see I have this 175 kilograms of concrete and who has been providing me this. So I go in and it's CEO Building Systems. They have been sending it to this district office for California Police Department job that I have. So I have probably something going on there and I'm getting all of this in there. Then I can also track my equipment. So I have dump trucks, fencing, flatbeds, reach forks, and it is telling me where all these equipments are. So for example, I can go in here and I can click on this and it tells me that I have 120 fencing and I have more fencing. So that I have like almost 470 of this and 55 of these reach forks on these Disney park, theme park project that I have on multiple sites that I have. And it is showing me kind of aging here as well in the next chart where I can see how much of this equipment has been on this site. So for example, if I go to my job again, the Disney theme park one, it can tell me how much of it has been there for more than 31 days and less than 60 days. So you can see that I have 370 fencing there and there is 130 reach forks that are just there. And through the app, as we get into that, I'll show you that we can deliver and call off this material and automatically in real time reflects on all of these dashboards. So I spent a bit more time than I would have liked on this, but I think this is so important for the industry that we are operating in to be able to have this kind of insights that I wanted to spend time on that. And now I'm going to show you the data. Obviously, this is feeding into the data that we have in BOLDBuild. Now, how that data gets incorporated into the system, obviously, you start from the sales side. I'll show you the opportunity management, and then I'll show you the foreman app. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the opportunity here. And I'm going to create a new one. So I'm moving on to the sales portion here. And I'm going to say, okay, I have Joe Smith, who is my contact for, okay, I'm going to go back in here. And I'm going to say, here. Sorry, I'm going to do new opportunity and I'm going to say I'm the owner of this. I'm going to select this company as the Walt Disney company and I'm going to go in and say the project that I have is I'm putting in steel canopies. Okay. Steel canopies. So I'm going to put this in. And this is my project and I'm going to just save it. So as I save that, what happens is that I'm going to put in Joe here as my sales contact. So I put in Joe, I save it again, and it's saying that I have to add in a service type, so I will do that. I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, okay, my service is structural because I'm doing steel canopy, so this is part of the services business that I have as part of different services that my business offers. So I'm in the qualify stage. As you see, these are the stages that I have. We've kept them generic on purpose. Like I said, we can change them based on your requirements. So I go in and I say, okay, they are interested in fabric and steel canopies in San Diego. So I do that and I say, okay, I click next stage, and obviously it has all the sales bells and whistles. You can create phone calls, you can track your emails, you can go in and you can create a task. It's integrated with Outlook, it's integrated with OneNote. You can post a message to anybody. I won't go into the details again in interest of time, because what I want to focus on is now that I have it, the next thing that you do is you're in the develop stage. So it's as soon as you get to the develop stage, it sends a notification to your estimator that we need to start creating bids for this. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to select a couple of sites. So I'm going to select this one site, which is San Diego Disneyland parking site 1. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to select the site 2. I don't know what's the address of this, but this is 6th Street, San Diego. I don't know what's the correlation, but hey, this is just a demo. So I do that, and then my estimator comes in and they say, okay, we want to create a new bid for this. Now this is where BOLDBuild kind of adds that functionality of collaboration between sales and estimation. There are multiple ways to do it. One is that we have some apps that we have built for our customers. So let's say if I have an app, I'll go to this form and I'll just upload that the estimates that I have, if they are simple, and they will be incorporated in here, and your bid will be ready. If you have a more complex process, and like most of our customers, you have this one Excel sheet, you refer to it as your takeoff that you love to death and you don't want to let go of that, then what we have done is that we have incorporated a way for you to be able to upload that. So I'm going to select this site and I'm going to say, okay, the service is structural. And I'm going to just pick up my structural takeoff template. So I'm going to just pick that. And it is fairly complex. And what it starts doing is it just starts reading through that and it starts creating all of this for you on the fly, just by this one click of choosing the file. So you can see now it brought in my revenue, my base price, my cost, my margins, my margin percentage. And as I go into the bid details, it will show me all of the details in here. Now you see there's a lot of functionality here. I won't be able to cover all of that, but you can, there are alternatives here. And these alternates you can either include or remove from the proposal. So as you generate a proposal, they're not there. You have all of your cost codes. It gets integrated with your ERP system if you don't want to set up cost codes in our system. If you are okay with that, as we onboard you, we can set those up for you. But all of your Excel file that gets incorporated in here. And just to show you, it also attaches the file that it uses. So if I show you the complexity of it, I'm pretty sure most of you will be able to correlate to that. So what we do is, this is kind of an Excel that I have uploaded right now. So it reads through all of this as to wherever we feel that the information that we need, and then it just brings in all that data in. So what we have done is we just create this bid upload section, which we work with you to create, and then we can bring it into our BOLDBuild solution. So with that, it has now created this bid for me. If I go back to my opportunity, you will see that my bid is there. It brings in my estimated revenue. So I'm going to say, okay, everything looks good. I'm going to say estimates is complete. And this is that cohesive process that I was telling you about. Like everybody will have to do these steps to be able to move on. Now, some of these are not required, and that is on purpose, but some of these can be required. So now this is where a second kind of sprinkle of magic comes in, because now we have everything in there. So just on this one click, it is going to generate a nicely formatted, amazingly pretty looking proposal for me, which I'm going to show you as soon as it comes here. So it is going to generate that, and it is going to put it in the notes section that I have. So it says here that check generated proposal from notes. I'm going to refresh it, and then I'm going to go into the notes section, and this is where my proposal is. So if I just click on it and open it for you, there it is. It has all the details. I mean, we have obviously using AlphaBOLD's logo. It can have your stuff in there. It gets the, if you paid attention, it was $4,445.31 for the estimates. It brings all of that in. It brings in the alternates that you have. It even brings in the inclusions and the exclusions, and this is all configurable. So for example, if I go in here and I change my inclusion and exclusions, then it would just bring in what is specific to this project. Similar is the case with the scope of work. And again, we define them per service as we onboard a customer. So whatever you have in place, you'll be able to do that. So on one click, you can then send it to your customer. And let's say I'm going to say I sent it to them. Amount was approved. Everything looks good. I'm going to move on. and it just tracks those emails as well. And it has integration with a doc management system. As Olivia was mentioning, that is a huge piece for you guys in this industry. All of your documents would be in one place, and I know that most of you have folder structure in the sales. Then as soon as you get the project, then project management team copies all those folders, and then they have their own templates. All of that goes away with BOLDBuild, because we have this integrated system where all of your documents are stored in one location and everybody across the organization can see them. Obviously, we have security that we can enforce as well in case you have some accounting related documents that you don't want other team members to see. But you can upload anything in here. And like, let's say if I go in and I say I want to upload the structural template in here, it is just going to take that and just start showing up in here. So running a bit behind on time, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close this as one, because I want to create a project from it and then start showing you a lot of that. So I'm going to say close as one. I'm closing this opportunity. As soon as I do that, it shows me this button. So I'm going to say, okay, create a project. So it says the project has successfully been created. Now, if I go in here, I can see that project. So if I go in here, refresh. If I go to the project, here is my steel canopies project. Now, as a project manager, what I will do is I'll go into my project section. So I'm like shifting roles now. I'll get a notification that a new project has been created for steel canopies. This is the most recent one, right? I go in here and I say, okay, this project has come in. I can start assigning my project manager. I can say, okay, let's see. I will have Aksa as my project manager. I can assign my project lead as, just going to pick up any random. Okay. So I will say that Anna is going to be my lead. I can assign my estimator. If I had assigned it before, then it would have brought it in. I assign my superintendent. So this is the person who's going to be responsible for approving all the dailies that start coming in. And then what the system does, it automatically creates a work order for you. So you can just, I'm not going to show that, but you can use this work order to schedule your team to go on site, and then they will start working on that. So I'm going to now shift over from here, and I'm going to come back to this project management, but I'm going to go over to a foreman role. So let's say if I have scheduled this project and my foreman is now supposed to start putting in their time against it. So I'm going to shift over to that. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to go to the Foreman app. So let me just log in as Foreman. And this is my other view in which I am into the Foreman app. As you can see, this is BOLDBuild Foreman. So as a Foreman, now I am on site. I am working on the steel canopy project with the Walt Disney, which they are opening up a new Disneyland in San Diego. So I go in and I click on New, and I say, okay, I will select the steel canopy project that we just got created. It is going to show me all the sites that are relevant to that, so I could quickly pick. So I'm going to say I'll be working in this land parking site 1, and I say, okay, I'm the foreman, so I'm going to just set that. And as soon as I do that, now this is everything that I'm showing you. You can use it on your mobile, you can use it on your tablet. The reason I explain it right now is because your foreman, as they're going to be on site, they're going to probably be using it either on their cell phone or on their tablets. And then they go in and they say, okay, today we had Adam here who was working, and he was doing administrative work because the project is just starting. And I'm going to select the trade as laborer, and I'm going to say he was here for 6 hours. And then I can just go in and I can say, okay, I had another person. So these are all the journeymans, and I as a foreman am submitting their time. So I'm going to just say, I had Jim here as well, and he is somebody who was doing some drilling for us. I can go in here and I can say, okay, this person is a laborer, and I say 4 hours for this guy. And I can have like break time and other stuff incorporated into this as well. This is a question that we get a lot. I don't have it in this demo, but this is for the time that is by my team. And I can submit it at any time when I feel I'm done with this daily. But I can also go in and I can say, oh, I have a subcontractor that is going to be on site. And this subcontractor that I'm going to choose is my vendor. And then I'm going to say the PO. I already have PO set up for them. I'm going to use this PO in 101, and I said they had 2 people on site, they worked 4 hours each, and then it's going to do, and I can even specify what task they did. So for example, they were here to help us with drilling. I can choose that, and it tells me that you have 60 hours in the PTO, in the purchase order with them, and I said they were only here for, like I said, 8 hours for today. So I can save and close that, and it gives me this information. Now, I can at any point in time send a report email. So it generates a PDF for me. I can send it to the customer that this is the work that we did today, and the customer will see a nicely formatted PDF, which you see here. And they can open up this PDF and they can see, okay, they can sign it, send it back to you. So you can have all sorts of, and you see how whatever I had in there, it has it. But as I put in more detail, it will have those as well. Similarly, I can have the subcontractor sign a similar PDF on my tablet with their thumb or with their stencil that, yes, we were there and we worked for 8 hours and this is what we did. So down the road when you receive an invoice from them, there are no surprises. Similarly, I can have my vendors for, like I was telling you, this co-building system that provides me concrete. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, pick up a PO here, and with that I'm going to go to concrete, and it tells me that we have 5,000 in the PO, 250 has been received. I'm going to say receive another 25 grams, and I can save and close that. So I'm now tracking my materials. Similarly, I can even track my equipment. So I can say right now, as we are starting this work, I need a dump truck on site. I need 2 of these. They have been delivered on the site, save and close. I also need something else that I want delivered, a reach fork or something like that. I put that in there as well. Some of these can be automatically tracked. So if you have, we have this BOLDConnect initiative where you have a sensor, and if you have that, then automatically as it gets on site, we can track that, okay, this is what we have on site. But once I'm done, I'm going to submit this. As this gets submitted, you will see that this will go out of my bucket, which is this bucket that you see, and it is going to go into the field admin because that's the process flow that we have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the field admin flow now very quickly here. So here I am as a field admin, you can see up here, and I'm going to see that this comes in, and boom, I see a steel canopy thing, and it has all the details that the foreman has submitted. Now I can validate this information. I can say, okay, this person has put in these many hours, this person has these, and this is what came in from subcontractor, what came in from materials, so on and so forth. And then I have 2 options. Either I can approve this or I can reject it. If I reject it, then it goes back to the foreman. If I approve it, then it goes forward. In interest of time, I'm just going to approve it for now. And I'm going to just go forward with that. And then the last thing that I want to show you is that I will be logging into the project management app, because everything that I am doing, so I did a daily, I created a project, I showed you how I scheduled that project and had the foreman start. I didn't show you the scheduling piece, but I showed you how I assigned different people to it. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go back to my admin role, and I'm going to go into the project management app. So if I go into that, I have 11 minutes here. So, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, okay, show me the newly created project. This is the steel canopies one that I created at 1042. So you can see I have my project number in here. I had added Anna as the project lead, Aksa as my project manager. I have the work order. But everything that has been happening, so you saw that I went in, submitted some time against it, the field admin approved it, it's going to be available to me right against this project here. So for example, if I go to say show me all my dailies, this is the daily that I just submitted. So you can see that it was submitted by foreman because I was logged in as foreman, and it is going to show me the total hours that have come in. So it's, if I go in here and I look at this, you can see the total hours were 10. I think there were 6 by Adam and then 4 by, what was the other person, Jim. So it is total of 10 hours. I can see all of this detail now. I can go back in here and I can say, okay, I don't want to see the daily. I want to just see the timesheets. I can look at that as well. So everything is coming together on this project level, allowing you to be able to do effective project management. You can say, okay, show me all of my material receipts. And now it's showing you that co-building systems have delivered this much of concrete on this site. If I go onto the subcontractor detail, it's going to show you that, okay, this subcontractor was on site and they have been doing drilling there. And plus we have reporting on top of it that I started by showing you guys, so you have a perspective on that as well. I can go into equipment and it shows me this is the equipment that has been delivered, and you can see that we have even a flow for the equipment, so that you can have the equipment team that can approve that, yes, I approve that this reach fork was actually delivered on that. So that's why it's showing you the pending approval status on that. Similarly, I can go into the subcontractor tasks, subcontractor materials. The idea is that here it gives me a holistic overview of everything. And again, most important, I have documents here as well. So if I click on documents, the same location that I use to upload some of the documents get carried over. So you can just click on that and you can open up that location, or you can have a separate location for this project in context of the documents that you would be uploading just for this project. But you always have access to whatever was uploaded by sales as well, so you never have to recreate the same document multiple times like most of the people are doing. And then in here you also have a process where you can track the overall progress on it. So for example, you can go into contract admin, you can start filling in all these fields that are relevant to this project. As a project manager, as you're setting it up, you can go into scheduling, work order has been assigned or not. This is the portion that I skipped, but like I said, we have that. We can have probably a more in-depth, in-detail session on this. And then you can kind of go through it as you close this project. Now, projects are huge and they can take a lot of time in this industry, so we have all of that incorporated in it. The last thing I want to show is, and last but not the least, is I talked a little bit about integration with the accounting systems. So I want to show you that if I go back in as an accountant in the system, so let me just do that. And so I'm logged in as a test account here. I have access to these, what we refer to as timesheet reports, right? And if I refresh this, what it does is, and it is bringing in the hours that I have put in, it automatically calculates the regular time, the overtime, the double time for you, and it has all the bells and whistles incorporated in it. So you can see that these are the 4 hours that Jim just submitted. It has already converted them into regular, and then you see that it also can foresee that, okay, this person has gone over based on the trade. It has all those rules, and then once you have this, you can use this to either export it in Excel and import it in your accounting system, or you can just push it directly through an integration with your accounting system, and that allows you to be able to pair them accurately as well. So that's kind of now going back to my deck here. Sorry about that. So that was the demo that I had. I've covered all of these modules for you. And then now moving over to the Q&A. So Olivia, do we have any question and answers? Questions, sorry.
Yeah, we do have one question. Is there any potential in the future to integrate with a geolocation tracking for field team?
Absolutely. We already have that. So I made a reference to our BOLDConnect solution. So we already have a geolocation detector, which allows us to be able to detect the location. So for example, if you have equipment where you would want automatic tracking of that equipment, we can put that sensor on it, and then automatically the equipment will be delivered and called off, and it will be integrated with the Foreman app that you saw and the project management app that you saw. So we already have that as part of the BOLDConnect, which is another platform that we use. So we definitely can provide you that functionality.
Great, thank you, Chad. And I think this one was more specifically referring to actual project teams, so like labor tracking.
So labor tracking is even easier. If they have their mobile devices, then they can be tracked on the location, absolutely. I was talking about more the equipment where you need a sensor to be able to do geolocation, but in case of your labor, you don't even need a tracker because they have the phones, and as they start using it, we can grab the location from that.
Right. Yeah. I think they're both pretty important, especially from a timesheets and overtime standpoint, being able to monitor that. And then we have another question for accounting. Can we integrate with Sage, specifically Sage 100?
Absolutely. We have experience integrating with Sage, and we know about the tools that would be easy to integrate with Sage, so we can definitely do that.
Okay. And then the other question is, do you have to buy the entire platform, or can you just get specific functionality within certain parts of it?
Not at all. So you can definitely, the whole idea of us divvying it up into these apps is that you don't have to buy the whole platform. Now, there are benefits of getting the whole platform, because if you buy, say, let's say you just buy the foreman app because you want your people to be able to submit time, then there's a specific license for that, and you can have that as a standalone app. You might not be able to get all the analytics that I showed you, but you will definitely be able to automate and improve upon your daily submission process, or whatever you call it. So you can definitely buy an individual app. We actually definitely recommend that if you have interest in just one app, just reach out to us. We'll have a quick call with you, and we'll be able to tell you if you can use it as a standalone. Awesome. Even if you have some other tools that you like, say for on the sales side or project management side, but you are struggling on the field operations, then you just buy our field operations app, and either we can leave it as standalone or figure out a way to integrate it with other applications you have.
Great, thank you. Ooh, good question. Is there a trial license for this?
Yes. So we are in the process of setting up the trial, and we should have that trial license available for all of the, at least the attendees of this. So we'll probably be reaching out to you by the end of next week. Right now we have a trial that is available. If you go, you'll probably find just the Foreman app as the trial. But we do not recommend, please don't download that, because that is not set up correctly. So we're working with Microsoft, but by the end of next week, we will be able to reach out to you and offer you a trial of all of these apps that I shared.
Got it, thanks. Yeah, and I just want to add too that there's a lot of information that we covered with this platform, and it's so all-encompassing. So we definitely want to follow up with you. One, absolutely get your feedback, and then two, see if we can schedule a time to speak with you directly, maybe schedule a more personalized demo depending on what trade you specialize in. And then Tyed, there is another question. I apologize, I actually have construction in my background right now. So it says, this may be outside of the scope of BOLDBuild, but are there any plans to integrate with engineering type software like CAD?
Okay, so there are problems with that. So we can probably discuss that. So that's this slide actually refers to that. So we are aware of that. We have a lot that we have done in the pre-construction. We have a lot that we are doing in construction and post-construction as well, as you see on your screens. CAD integration is something that we have discussed. The problem with that is that it is not very easy to do, and then it causes a lot of problems on the overall user experience side of things. So even if we do that, I think we're going to make it very role specific for certain people to be able to have access to that. But we haven't finalized the plan on that as yet.
Okay, and then one more question. So BOLDBuild is a cloud-based solution. Despite that, are you able to access things like documents, plans, etc. from anywhere? And do you only access from the app, or is there an online access, for example?
Yeah, so like I showed you, there's an integration with document management system referred to as SharePoint. So what we recommend is that you upload your documents there. But if you have certain documents that you have access to on your desktops, yes, you can definitely also access your documents from there as well. You can upload them into Notes. You can also upload them into SharePoint. So it's very, very strong on the doc management side. It provides you all the versioning capability on those documents. It allows you nice sharing capability on those documents, so you don't have to create 100 copies of those. So it just helps you have a single source of truth to your information.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know how these are currently being accessed. Hear a little bit more about that. Okay, I think that's all the questions that we have for right now.
Sounds good. So then I'm just going to wrap it up.
Yeah, let's
Like
talk about steps, and that's it.
So yeah, so I just wanted to share that, like I said, we'll be reaching out to you so you could set up a free trial. You can use BOLDBuild for around 2 weeks with that trial. If you're interested in talking to us, we can do a free assessment understanding how BOLDBuild can help you. It can help you map it to your existing business processes and improve there. And I think like you asked, the Sage integration, we already have it, so we can discuss about your accounting integration in case you have a system that is maybe an old system or doesn't integrate easily. We do have a lot of experience integrating BOLDBuild and other tools with accounting and ERP systems. So I think the good thing is that you guys ask questions against each one of these things that I had as next step. So I think it was well received. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, everyone, and see you tomorrow for our webinar on our BOLDConnect solution, IoT. Thanks so much. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.